Councillors in York voted last night to strip Prince Andrew of his freedom of the City of York status. The Queen's second youngest son was presented with the status with his ex-wife, the Duchess of York, as a wedding gift in a huge celebration hosted by the Cathedral City in 1987.
So, in the wake of the civil sexual assault case brought against him, which he settled out of court, of course, to the tune of, we think, millions and millions of pounds, but he denies ever having met her or knowing anything about it. He was then stripped, of course, of many of his military roles, perhaps all of them, patronages and his HRH title. That, of course, was all in the right of the Queen to do so. So is York, though, as a city, as councillors, do they have the right and should they have removed the honour? Well, Councillor Darryl Smalley, who campaigned for Andrew to lose this honour, is with us. Good morning to you. So, it was... tell us about this vote last night and what it has done to the City of York to be associated with Prince Andrew over the last few years.
So the vote last night was unanimous, so we had Liberal Democrats, Conservatives, Labour and Green Party councillors all voting in favour of removing that honour, the honorary freedom of York, from Prince Andrew. It's the first time in our city's history we've ever taken that step, and previous recipients include Winston Churchill, Dame Judi Dench and other fantastic citizens of York. And yeah, I was speaking personally as a resident of the city, it's not been great looking at the broadsheets, looking at international media and even our local paper, and even in this segment today, the Duke of York, the city is constantly linked to that man, and as the very serious allegations came out, it's really been quite upsetting having York, a fantastic city with a brilliant international reputation, linked to Prince Andrew.
The allegations, of course, Prince Andrew has denied. He was never found guilty. And lots of people will say, you know, what on earth are you doing thinking about taking this away from somebody because of exactly those reasons? It's not really up to you to decide whether you should take away the freedom of the freedom of York from the Duke of York himself.
It's a very fair point. I think what I would do is say, look at the example the Queen set, and even yourself said, maybe many people waking up that many months ago when the Queen stripped him of those military patronages assumed he'd lost all his titles. We're very aware in York that both the honorary freedom and the dukedom both linked him to our city, and obviously it wasn't for the honorary freedom, it wasn't for the Queen to remove it, it was for city councillors to decide that, and that's the decision we made yesterday. And we're only really following that example the Queen set. She saw that it was doing serious reputational damage to those military institutions and charities, and so stepped in to remove him from those positions. And we believe very strongly, and many residents agree with us, that we should be removing all links between our city and Prince Andrew.
Okay.
York has a fantastic relationship with the monarchy going back hundreds of years. It's something we cherish. We can't cherish it whilst we have Prince Andrew as our most senior royal.
Well, the royal biographer and editor of Majesty magazine, Ingrid Seward, is listening to all of that. Ingrid, it seems like a pretty reasonable thing for York to have done. They don't want to be aligned with somebody who was seen with a convicted sex offender and has settled out of court to the tune of millions of pounds. And it's very salacious, and even though he's not been found guilty of anything, as our councillor there says, the Queen herself has made some very strong decisions about stripping him of titles. So why shouldn't York?
Well, I completely understand why the people of York may not want the association, but I feel that timing is everything on this, and it's the Queen's Platinum Jubilee year, as we all know, and that starts in just over a month. I think that it would have been far kinder to the Queen, forget Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, far kinder to have removed this after the Jubilee, if that's what they wanted to do. Now, there's been a huge amount of attention focused on the fact that Andrew has the City of York, and I would say that a majority of the population didn't even know he had the freedom of the City of York. And it's not up to the people of York, as the councillor said, it's not up to the people of York, or indeed the councillors, whether Andrew retains his title, Duke of York. But I feel that that's absolutely nothing to do with us. It's to do with the Queen. She bestowed the title on him at his marriage. It's traditionally a title for the second son of a monarch. And I think the only way it can be removed, although she bestowed it, is by an Act of Parliament. Now, that wouldn't be great for the monarchy, wouldn't be great for anyone. So I just think sometimes these things are best left alone.
OK, well, let's go back to Darryl on that, because, Darryl, that's an interesting point, isn't it? It's the Queen's Jubilee this year, of course. Was there ever any conversation about whether this should be delayed until next year after the Jubilee celebrations have been had for the sake of the Queen?
No, I think we felt we had to act as quickly as possible, and so we scheduled the extraordinary council meeting at the next available date. I absolutely take the point about the Jubilee, and right in the suburb of York, we're going to have fantastic celebrations and about the Jubilee and parties, and right across York we'll be doing the same. Again, the city has a fantastic connection to the monarchy. It's something we're very proud of and have been proud to have, as you say, a senior royal linked to our city. Yeah. I would say, we're a city of 200,000 residents, 8.4 million visitors a year, and whilst I absolutely take the point that people across the nation might not think it's that important, it's really not nice as residents to have your city constantly talked about in relation to Prince Andrew.
Interesting. Ingrid, just before you go, just throwing ahead, we saw, obviously, Prince Andrew on the arm of his mother at the memorial service to Prince Philip. Do you think that Prince Andrew will play any public and front and centre role during the Jubilee celebrations? Have you heard anything about that?
Well, I rather doubt that he will, because the Queen, of course, is very sensitive to public opinion. And I think that, you know, there was a bit of an uproar when she appeared with her favourite son, you know, holding her up and helping her. I think people were sympathetic, but they'd rather he hadn't been in such a prominent position. So I don't think he will have a prominent position at all at the Jubilee. OK,
thank you both.
Yeah, Darryl Smalley, councillor from York, thank you for joining us this morning, and Ingrid Stewart, who's the editor of Majesty magazine, of course. Prince Andrew has continually denied any allegations against him. We did try and contact the Duke of York about being stripped of the freedom of the City of York status, but he declined to comment.